A woman has recently claimed in a TikTok video that she has found a UFO in her back garden. Creating fake UFOs to draw attention to oneself is often the fact of individuals, of random persons, and the US government can sometimes also be involved against his willing in these fake events. Knowing the fact that the US government or the relevant authorities generally use to cover up a UFO incident instead of communicating on it, what is logical, all this becomes full of inconsistencies. Welcome in the wonderful world of ufology where lies, misinterpretations and deceptions freely mix with real facts. Who can we believe when it comes to UFOs?
Section 51.
Hi everyone, what's up guys, DozGeek here again with Section 51. So before we get started, I want to say big thanks again to all of you for helping the channel to grow and welcome to the new subscribers. As usual, please like and share this new video in order to spread true information about UFOs and restore a minimum of seriousness on this subject. And of course, watch this video until the end. I hope you're well and that you're ready. Let's start right now. A woman, TikTok user called Ali or Ali Murray 222, has recently claimed in a TikTok video that she has found a UFO in her back garden. So you will see in her video an object in the shape of a disc that she claims to be a UFO. At least a UFO wreck. But I think that's where the show ends and the human stupidity begins. And I hate TikTok for that because this platform promotes the creation of videos just to make the buzz and waste people's time. You are not going to TikTok to discover important information or to learn useful things. No, this is just a waste of time and the reign of appearances. And appearances are often misleading. But let's get back to our dear Ali with her mischievous smile quietly talking about this alleged UFO in her video.
If anybody from Conspiracy TikTok is here, I think you'd be interested in the UFO I just found in my backyard.
It's already starting very badly because she's talking to anybody from Conspiracy TikTok who could be interested in the UFO found in her backyard. I must say that this is very representative of this mind of hate, arrogance and pure stupidity that skeptical people generally have towards the community of UFO enthusiasts. Why reduce people who believe that we are not alone in the universe to conspirators? And they are not afraid to do provocation publicly in the manner of this woman, just to make views, just to make the buzz. 2 million views for the first video. And many others for the following videos. Because there were other videos, of course. This is sad. It's really not a sign of intelligence on the part of that person. It's provocation and it's just stupid. Because it does not help UFO research by making such videos while we have so much official evidence that this subject is serious, that it must be taken seriously. This subject is certainly taken seriously by the armed forces for decades. There are even people who have suffered from having observed UFOs or from encounters of the third kind. Such videos are just a lack of respect for all this. The video has amassed more than 2.3 million views, 300,100 likes and 1,644 comments. Users have been flooding to the comments section to post their theories around what the unidentified object could possibly be, with one suggesting it was the top of a water tank or silo. A third said just a satellite TV dish from the late 90s. Ali has since updated followers on her findings, posting a second video of the discovery to give her followers a better look at it. In it, she notes how the object has some weird graffiti on it, which looks peculiarly like a Mario Kart mushroom. What a funny thing. I love it when the subject of UFOs is a reason for smiling and making jokes. She describes how it is completely out here in the middle of nowhere and that there is nothing for a mile in any direction.
So here's just a better look at the outside of whatever this is. So you can see that it's like attached to the ground. There's some weird graffiti on it. But like the thing to note is that it's completely out here in the middle of nowhere. There's like nothing for like a mile in any direction. And then here's just a better look at the inside. I'm sure what you were all waiting for. It's just full of rocks and water right now because it's monsoon season. But I don't know what that hole is over there. Yeah, so anticlimactic because it's completely flooded, so I'm not climbing in there.
She goes on to show her followers what they were all waiting for, a better look inside the alleged UFO. However, unfortunately, no aliens can be seen, just rocks and water due to it being monsoon season. Ali does note a mysterious hole, however, which she doesn't have access to due to the water. Ali later posted a third video in which she admits to her followers that she knows for a fact it's not actually a UFO, but that she would sooner believe it was a UFO than a satellite. She asked her followers to help her out because she wants to find out what is in the hole. Wow, what an amazing adventure!
Like, I know for a fact it's not a UFO, but I would sooner believe it's a UFO than a satellite, so TikTok, help me out. Like, I want to know what's in that hole, like, back there, what that is. And I don't have anything long enough to, like, stick down there.
Most followers seemed to think that the presence of the hole confirmed the strange object's status as some sort of silo or water tower. While the object has still not yet been wholly identified, if it really was a UFO, I really doubt about the authenticity of this object. My opinion is that it's just a somewhat original sculpture by a wacky artist who wanted to make believe that there was a UFO wreck in the forest. And it is not complicated to make this deduction just by observing the details of the object and how it is made. It seems to have been made with basic materials that we use every day. Nothing surprising here. I even suspect Ali to hide us that it is she who created this object in her garden a few years ago and who decided today to make videos to make the buzz. One way or another to make this magnificent artistic creation profitable. Once again, it is so sad and she's really out of it. She's missing the point. She understood nothing about UFOs. Let's be nice and say it's a youth mistake. And let's forget this sad episode. Of course, all this has nothing to do with the UFO crash at Roswell in July 1947 or with the alleged UFO crash in Aurora, Texas in April 1897. Besides, I invite you to watch the video that I made about the Aurora UFO incident 3 months ago. It's a very interesting story, but creating UFOs is often the fact of individuals, of random persons, and the US government can sometimes also be involved against his willing in these fake events. Knowing the fact that the US government or the relevant authorities generally use to cover up a UFO incident instead of communicating on it, what is logical? All this becomes full of inconsistencies. But US government has made some efforts recently by acknowledging UFOs after years of denial. For example, look at the Morristown UFO hoax that happened in 2009. Another hoax, a big and physical hoax made in real life by two guys who are still considered by a majority of people as agents of the government who know the truth about aliens. The phenomenon began on January the 5th of 2009 when people witnessed 5 flare lights attached to helium balloons over Morris County, New Jersey. Hanover police got the first of many 911 calls. People pulled over to witness what they thought could be UFOs. Local and national news media stayed glued to the mystery. Alleged UFO experts Chris Russo and Joe Rudy weighed in and told people they were extraterrestrial. But it was all just two guys in Morristown.
We were kind of sitting around one day. We had an idea to put on a hoax well before we did it. It was kind of something that fascinated me, the way people thought about certain things and came to extraordinary conclusions when there's no extraordinary evidence to back it up. Joe and I are very similar thinkers when it comes to that kind of stuff. We decided to do a social experiment to see what kind of reaction it would get. And as you've seen, it got a pretty big reaction. A lot of experts jumped on board to give their opinions, which turned out to be wrong.
On April the 1st of 2009, Rudy and Russo announced to the public via a Skeptic magazine article that it was all a hoax. Rudy and Russo conducted the experiment to show how easily people could deceive themselves via a lack of evidence. If anything proves them right, it's the people who to this day insist that the duo lied, that it's a hoax, and that they have knowledge of extraterrestrials. 6 days after their revelation, they pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct. They were each sentenced to fines of $250 and 50 hours of community service. And 12 years later, you still have people who are kind of fascinated by the hoax and believe that it's true.
It depends who you asked. Some people absolutely loved it. They thought it was great. The people who didn't believe it was an extraterrestrial craft. The people who did believe it was one, they thought it was great. Some people were a little upset with us, understandably so. Two things shocked us. The news, from local coverage all the way to national coverage, were jumping on this before we revealed the hoax and after we revealed the hoax. But still, you look at some of the YouTube comments on the most recent video that was posted. There are still people that think it's some cover-up. That we're actors. That we are covering up this unbelievable truth that the government's trying to hide and we're somehow paid actors.
Are they telling the truth? A video documentary was made to explain how they proceeded in creating the hoax. I let you judge by yourself. And what about the supposed Men in Black? It's possible that the story of the Men in Black, the mysterious figures that would become the subject of fascination in UFO circles and eventually break into mainstream popular culture, can be traced to one day, June the 27th of 1947. As the story goes, Harold Dahl was on a conservation mission on the Puget Sound near the eastern shore of Washington's Maury Island, gathering logs, when he saw 6 donut-shaped obstacles hovering about a half a mile above his boat. Before long, one of them fell nearly 1,500 feet, followed by raining metallic debris, some of which hit Dahl's son, Charles, on his arm, as well as the family dog, who didn't survive the ordeal. Dahl was able to take some pictures of the aircraft with his camera, which he later showed to his supervisor, Fred Chrisman. A skeptical Chrisman went back to the scene to look for himself and saw a strange aircraft with his own eyes. The following morning, Dahl was visited by a man in a black suit. They end up at a local dinner where the man was able to recount in extraordinary detail what Dahl had just experienced. Dahl was told not to speak of the incident. If he did, bad things would happen. In all their different incarnations, the Men in Black, or MIB, usually have one main purpose: to muzzle witnesses of strange paranormal phenomena. They almost always wear black suits and hats with dark sunglasses, drive black cars, and arrive in groups of 2 or 3. Some describe them as one with an FBI agent, while others recall the MIB as having strange appearances, sometimes with supernatural features like glowing eyes and strange complexions. However, all these facts demonstrate once again that it is very difficult to get close to the truth when talking about the subject of UFOs. We navigate in a real maelstrom where real facts, lies and misinterpretations mix very easily all the time. And it happens very often that you have some people like Ali or Rudy and Russo who don't give a shit about telling these lies. People for whom it is not a problem to create real-life hoaxes. These people don't realize they are going too far, and it is up to us as viewers to make them understand that they are wrong. But maybe I'm wrong too. Tell me what you think. What do you think of these hoaxes? Do you know an example of a big hoax made by a state government? Do you think Rudy and Russo were simple hoaxers or were they government agents? Do you think MIBs exist? Have any of you met any of them? What if the object in the garden of Ali was the wreck of a real UFO? Maybe I'll be an idiot then. But maybe Ali can come and prove to us herself in the comments or by sending me a message that this is a real alien ship. I look forward to it. The funniest thing in the story would be that young Ali would be visited by a MIB soon after she discovered a fake UFO. The joke would be on her. I hope you enjoyed this video. Section 51 is on social networks, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to share it to expose these hoaxes. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to support Section 51. I'll be back really soon with new UFO videos. Open your eyes, watch the sky, live long and prosper.